Well, something very interesting is happening in the modern dating world. Apparently, millennial and Gen Z men, you are not approaching women in person anymore because apparently you're afraid of coming off as creepy. That's what they're saying. So this is a phenomenon that has a term. It's being called approach anxiety. And according to the New York Post, 44% of single men surveyed say they experience this approach anxiety. So what do we make of this shift in dating behavior? Is this happening on the scene, Andrea?
I love the way you guys all turn to me like I'm dating all the men. Yes, let me tell you what the men say at the group. Actually, you know what? I think this is just a matter of dating and marriage just evolving. Because if you look back into history, if you go way back into the caveman days, right?
Yeah.
But for a boy to become a man, some foreskin had to be taken off. He had to kill an animal. No, but it's true. And then he also had to take a woman and have some children and procreate. And there was a path and a structure that everybody followed.
Yeah.
And then you kind of jump to our grandparents' generation, where in order for you to have sex, you had to get married. And you had to, in order to get married to that girl, you had to ask her father's permission. There was a structure there. And then we moved to the women's liberation, where things kind of changed. And then there was a little bit traditional, but then you could also be the Mary Tyler Moore of your group. And you didn't have to have children, and you could be in a polyamorous relationship. And then the internet and social media just blew everything up. And now, not only have the rules of engagement changed, but also the way you talk to people. Now you don't have to cross the room and ask that girl on a date. You can just slide into her DMs, double tap a picture, put a little comment. So now I understand why the men aren't asking. The rules are different. The structure's not the same. There's not a clear pathway into getting into a relationship.
I feel like this story...
And there's not that expectation either.
I'm glad that you brought up cavemen, because I feel like the story made cavemen of men today. Because it said that they have to walk this fine line. And they didn't want to fall on one side or the other. Oh my God, it was so scary. How do you engage with a woman and come across as flirty and kind? Because the line is so fine that you might come across as rapey and horrible and disgusting and mean. It's like, is the line that fine? I asked the men in the audience, like,
oh, Corey is saying yes.
Yeah,
Our
there is
cameraman
none.
Corey.
No, it's true.
I do not think so. I think most men, you can be awkward, you can be nervous, but the idea of being disgusting?
Sometimes, Jess, sometimes they are disgusting.
Are you
Sometimes.
serious?
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
You can see
what you're
that
saying. Like what you're trying to illuminate. Like really, most men, you would assume, know the difference between when they're being creepy. I mean, to me, creepy is when you repeatedly ask someone, or you're sort of like staring inappropriately, harassing, like all that,
objectifying.
But asking somebody just, you know, like, hey, you know, would you ever like to go out for a coffee? I mean, I don't know why that would be so scary. And yet, I can sort of see it. Like, this isn't my son's generation. He's not out on the dating scene yet. But I was thinking recently that when we were growing up, we saw examples in movies and television of like what it meant to court. Now, a lot of the examples we got were horrible.
Thank you.
But we at least had a template. We also had things like school dances, which were like inherently, you'd have the slow dance and you'd be able to have out your awkward
don't have slow
weirdness.
music anymore.
They don't have
About
slow
it. No
music
slow
anymore.
dances.
So like all of these types of things that we grew up with, which were like at least primers to try to figure out how to interact, they're gone. Couple that with, as you mentioned, social media, and I imagine a lot of guys are seeing these things with girls like, here, you know, if I have my headphones on in the public area, that's a clue, don't talk to me. So men, I can understand, are a little bit, young men,
But isn't
confused.
doesn't that mean that men are less afraid about being creepy, and it's just a generation of people who don't know how to interact in real life?
It might be.
Well, in general,
might be.
that is bang on. And that goes both ways. Whether I mean, we're talking into straight context right now. I think that there's a lot converging, and you're all touching on it, which is, of course, social media is a big thing. Social media has, on one hand, you know, it's made maybe dating a lot easier for some people. But what social media has also done is erase the very thing that makes dating what dating is, which is the awkwardness, the friction, the fear of rejection, all of these things. We live for likes. When you're in person, you could actually be rejected to your face.
Yeah.
And guess what? That's just part of dating.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, if it's easier to swipe, then I'm worried about being rejected, then yeah, you're gonna go the easy route. The other side of this is the discussion we've had on the show so many times, which is toxic masculinity, right? We have a million examples in the world of how masculinity has just fallen off a cliff. The question I have is, where are boys and men today to learn what positive masculinity looks like. Who is teaching them how to date? I mean, I don't want to say things, but there are charlatans who have swooped in to fill the void.
That's
the Andrew Tates of the world, the Joe Rogans of the world, the hyper-masculinity of the world. So I'm just curious, where are young boys and men learning how to date?
Shouldn't they be getting it from their fathers?
I think they are. I think Jason
men
is
in their
definitely
families?
trying to have conversations that he didn't feel like he got when he was growing up with Jaya. We also, I feel like the one example that recently, and we're going to move on in a second, that I did like was Stranger Things, because it was a group of teenage boys, and there were interactions, both same-sex interactions, and so that it showed that you can have these kinds of friendships that evolve into something different. It showed how you can have difficult conversations when relationships come to an end. So there are these kinds of, you know
what's even better than that?
But isn't that set in the 80s or the 90s?
It's set in the 80s.
So it's asking these young boys, these young men
to go back in
look
time.
back.
Yeah. You know what's also really good? Love Island.
No!
I'm telling you, the young people are enthralled with that show because there's all of the dating things. There's rejection, there's love, there's heartbreak. But then you don't have to do it. You just watch somebody else do it. From the comfort of your home, and you see who goes home. Like, that's where they want to watch it. They don't want to participate in it. I'm telling you. I would do the show. If I was in my 20s, I would definitely do that show. All right, so let's move on to our next topic. A travel influencer who built his brand around his one-day international trips is defending himself after some followers accuse him of faking it. Kevin Droniak says he's got the receipts and boarding passes to prove his budget-friendly, no-sleep, 24-hour micro travels are very much real. So what do you think of this idea of a one-day micro travel trip? Would anybody here do this? No. Not a single one. Okay.
This is barf-o-rama for me. Total barf-o-rama.
Speaking of the 80s.
Yeah, I don't even like, totally. I don't even like the idea of a 3-day vacation where you have to involve like far travel, like a cruise or a plane. To me, I would much rather have a small amount of time off. Give me a local thing. Give me a day spa, or give me my own bed for the day. That I would way more feel like is more rejuvenating in something like this.
But does that have to do with our age?
No.
Because this guy's young. He has the
27,
energy. He knows what he wants. He's in search of having these memorable meals. He goes and he gets it done. I'm just saying this is not for me either, but I've been forced to do like 24-hour turnaround to London, England, and 2 days in Peru for work. And would I choose this for myself? Goodness, no. But as a result of that, 24 hours in England, I was on a mission when work was done. It was just go, go, go. Every minute counted. It was beautiful, and I came back feeling like I was there for a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, with this guy. I think you nailed it on the head. He's 27. I don't think he has a family or kids or anything. And we were just talking about young people. We were specifically talking about young men. He's 27. He's got a job. Okay? He's out of the house. He's actually doing things. I think we can so easily get outraged at people doing anything. It's not for me either. But I am taking his recos. If he's going to Japan for a day, I want to know, where did he eat? Where did he stay? What did he visit? So when I'm there for hopefully longer than a day, I will take those tips. But I think if it's not for you, hit the unfollow button. Then don't follow him.
I also want to know what kind of magical airport and airline he's flying with, because the last time, anytime I get on a flight, there's always a delay.
Yeah.
A couple of months ago, I went on a trip, and I ended up sitting on the tarmac for 3 hours in Raleigh, North Carolina, because there was a government shutdown. That was not in my plan. And then the other day, I was trying to get on another flight. Someone was just taking their good old time, and then the flight was backed up by another hour and a half. So, like, what flights are you taking, sir? Let me know that you're always on time so you could do a full 24 hours.
Yeah, give me that app. I want that app for sure.
Now, for years, Karens have been suffering after their first names were co-opted to become a derogatory term for any white woman asking to speak to the manager. And now, Gen Z has updated Karen to Jessica. Firstly, I'd like to speak to the manager. And secondly, what do we make of this turn of events? Like, are these terms, is this helpful? Is this harmful?
You know, I mean, generally, I think name calling is not good, but I did think it was helpful to an extent to illuminate a trend that we saw for a while, really kicked off in 2020, where white women were behaving very badly and weaponizing, in particular, their whiteness, often to harm black men. And it was something that felt uncomfortable to look at, but it was necessary, and it's hard to come up with a quick shorthand for something like that. So Karen was used. What quickly happened, though, and I think people noticed, was that it descended into something else. And I have the particular story of like friends. I have a friend who, she was in her own neighborhood and she was complaining to another dog owner who was white. She's white, he was white, and saying like, you can't, this is not an off-leash park, like you're not picking up after your dog, whatever. And he called her a Karen. Yeah. And so there were so many examples of that where it's like, no, you're misusing this now. And then it started to become like steeped in misogyny and ageism, and it felt like it was just meant to just silence women.
Yeah, because,
anything.
I mean, you pointed this out. There is no male equivalent term for a Karen.
Well, they tried with Chad, right?
Well,
they tried. It didn't really.
stick. I don't know. It didn't stick.
And
so I think that you're absolutely right. What this started out as was a lesson for all of us in privilege and understanding and unpacking privilege. And then it quickly turned into what so many things turn into, which is just trying to silence and police all women's behavior. And so the last time that I heard it was a bunch of young boys actually at my daughter's school. They were in the schoolyard calling a bunch of other girls a bunch of Karens.
Really?
Wow.
They have no idea what it means.
Yeah.
I'm like, sit down.
It gets watered down.
It gets watered down. I'm not your teacher, but go to detention.
Yeah.
It has gone so far from that. And so I'm sorry, Jessica, because the Karen term has sort of lost its way. And so I don't think the Jessica one's going to stick because look how fabulous she is.
Oh my God. Well, yes.
No, but I'm gonna go even further on this one. Has anybody ever heard somebody call another person a Jessica in a derogatory way? Exactly, because I think there's a conspiracy behind this. I think the Karens are behind this. Because it's 2026, and they are tired of being the butt of all of the bad behavior. So they're like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna, oh yeah, everybody's calling them Jessicas now. Who's calling them Jessicas? Nobody.
No
you
one
guys
is.
just said no one's doing it.
They're trying to make something
The
stick.
Karens are carrying again, trying to make Jessica a thing, and Jessica is clearly not a thing. So Karens, I see you.
Wow. This is really
garbage. I've never heard anybody use it that way.
Jessica, no offense to my friend over there, but I thought Brenda would have come before Jessica. Do you know what I mean? Don't you feel like
That's
a
a very
Brenda?
that's a very Karen thing to say.
Yeah, it is a Karen thing to say. It is.
How do you feel about this?
I don't think, well, I find it quite entertaining and quite humorous until it gets used, weaponized against me. But the thing is with Jessica, I think the derogatory term only works or only has real power if we're taking this in a lighthearted direction when it can't become a nickname. Like I can go by Jess. I can go by Jessie. You're like, you're being a real Jessie? That doesn't have any weight. Jess, but Karen, like, there's no short form. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the short form saves me in this scenario.
Yeah, there's your
It's
out.
also not a real thing.
Yeah, it's also not real.
Oh my God. Okay, we're moving to other questionable behavior because someone wrote to Miss Manners to ask why it's become mandatory to send a thank you note after receiving a gift. I mean, wasn't it always mandatory? A little bit. I don't know. Have you noticed there is more of an obsession with being thanked recently?
No.
Some people have.
I
Some
don't know.
people in the audience have.
I don't know if this is generational or not. I feel like my mom's generation, they were like thank you notes.
Yes.
And even like, I have a stack of thank you cards for my wedding. I've been married for 18 years and I still haven't sent them.
Oh my God!
No, but I gave really great gifts as people were walking out the door. That was my thank you.
That's fair.
That was my thank you.
Yeah.
But some people want a thank you.
Only to recycle it. Like,
Only
right?
to recycle it.
Yeah.
So again, taking the generational thing out of it, I hate to do this because, you know, I'm a girl's girl and I do not like to do this to other women, but I think this is a woman-on-woman crime. I think that women expect other women to thank them. I don't know that there's a crisis of women saying, why didn't that guy thank me? I think that women expect a certain level of behavior, thankful gratitude from other women, because the only time that this has happened to me, and it happened to me recently, was I received we get beautiful Christmas cards, like the family photos. I got beautiful ones from all my friends in the mail, but I didn't say thank you. I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. It's maybe implicit. I ran into one of the girls who's not a close friend. She's more of acquaintance, and she goes, oh my God, did you get my Christmas card? I said, I did. Yeah, oh my God, the family is so beautiful. She goes, oh, I was waiting to hear from you. I was waiting to hear a thanks.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now, guess what I said in response? Because I was like, whoa, that is woman-on-woman crime if I've ever felt it. And I said, I'm not that girl.
No way,
wow.
that's wood.
I said, I
owning
thank
it.
you. It's beautiful. I'm not that girl.
Yeah.
But
That's honest.
hear me out. You said something very interesting. I do feel like saying thank you is baked into me. I even say thank you when 1% of the time I don't mean it, when I'm just being a Jessica. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
But 99% of the time I truly mean it. And so instead of making it be like, women, this is like, it's all on us, shouldn't we open it up and be like, can't just everyone say thank you? It's so easy to do and it goes such a long way, especially when you're driving your car and you let someone in. If you don't get the wave, if you don't get the thank you,
I will follow you home.
I will find you.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. That's why I'm like, yeah, it is a gender thing when it comes to the gift giving, but when it comes to just basic decency of walking through doors and holding doors,
don't do it.
or seeing somebody can't reach something
Agreed.
on a shelf in a grocery store, it's not a gender
Yes.
thing for me. And you're right, I will follow you home. I will at least drive up to you and make sure that lock eyes. I'm gonna stare at you like this until you look at me and be like, yeah, it's a thank you, even like a hand gesture, anything. I'll just say this much: when you look at, we've been talking about a lot of hard news stories earlier this week. This world right now is so hard. Let's be kind to each other. A thank you costs you nothing, but it goes a long way.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a generational thing. I don't want us to evolve out of this. It's something that we should always have, and we shouldn't talk about, well, our grandparents. No, we are human beings, and we need to
You're
always
totally
be
right.
kind
You're
to
totally
each other.
right. And we should, especially a gesture when you're driving. I will just say this, that like we also have to do the work of assuming the best of some people. So in the situation, to go back to you, it's like make the assumption, person who sent the card, that she loved it and that she enjoyed it and whatever. That there are some places where it's
that
like,
lady was in the wrong.
that lady
was.
had
Thank
to
you.
say
You know what
yeah,
she was?
yeah.
She was
Yeah.
being a Jessica.
And it takes one to know one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
She was.
You know how we know it's so important? Because, and not to dog, if there's any Americans, I'm sorry, but you know in America, it's much more common when you say, oh, you know, thank you for holding the door, whatever, and they go, You know, have you ever seen that before? Yeah. So there's no you're welcome. Thank you and you're welcome. Let's finish the sentence together. All right, in case you've been living under a rock, there's a big hit show by our own network called Heated Rivalry taking over. And one of the stars, Hudson Williams, he's right now, however, in some hot water after his old Letterboxd reviews were unearthed. So what is Letterboxd? It's a social media app for movie lovers, okay? So a lot of people like Hudson, they share their impassioned critiques of film on there. He did that, and for instance, he declared a long time ago that Pedro Pascal is not a good actor and that his performance is so wooden it makes Dakota Johnson look charismatic. Okay, he also called Rachel Zegler's work in Hunger Games, quote, like a musical theater kid trying way too hard for her mom in the audience. Okay, so these were some of the things that someone found on his old Letterboxd account. So is the backlash against him today fair?
No!
Y'all are nice.
Interesting. Well, it depends on the backlash. I'm not gonna backstep my position here, which is that it was kind of warranted. Like, he decided to be a non-professional critic in a very public way, which is what everyone on Letterboxd who does it. I'm on Letterboxd. I just log my movies. I'm not offering up reviews because I am not interested in trying to convince someone to like or dislike something. I just want to like or dislike something myself. So if you put on that armchair critic hat and you want to do it, well, then he freaked around and he found out.
Yes.
My only counter, I don't think this backlash is warranted. Here's why. I think he's an actor. He went to acting school. I went to film school. I know as part of that, there was no Letterboxd at that time, but you would often sit in classrooms and you watch things. No, but you would critique things.
Yes.
You would pick
Together
things apart
as a group, right?
as a group.
Yes.
But that's what we've been talking about social media and the kids these days. They all do this collectively on an app.
But this is not a critique of the work. This is not a
it-
critique of like, oh, the lighting was off, or I wish the editing had the story wasn't really fun. This is about being very mean-spirited. And by the way, these aren't comments that he posted 5 years ago, 10 years ago. This was last year, some of these comments. I thought it was very mean-spirited. And what I don't understand is, how could you actively want to be a part of a community, but then you are being so heavily, you're criticizing people who are in that community, and now look at you. Now you got what you wanted. Good luck on those red carpets, because now everybody knows what you said. And you could have just written that down in your journal. You could have just had that conversation with a friend, but instead you had to write it down on the internet so it's there forever. What were you thinking? You're not like a construction worker who's never going to be an actor who's like, yeah, I'm just going to share my opinions. You were actively trying to be a part of this world, and this is what you were saying about the people who are already there?
I guess I'm just sensitive because we've said stuff on this show, for example.
Yes, but
and
we're paid to. Sorry.
I know. I get it. I get it. We were paid to, but it still would be awkward if we ran into those people, like, in certain situations,
some of them have come on the show.
That is
Some
true.
of them.
But the idea with Letterboxd or Goodreads, if you're on Goodreads and you write book reviews and stuff like that, is generally you're looking for community. You're looking for like-minded people. And I think especially when what we were talking about at the beginning of the show is a whole generation losing how to communicate in real life, it is replacing it, as you said. But I think he did go too far.
But he's being mean-spirited.
Like, he spelled you, not Y-O-U. That's reason enough, guys.
Prince did that all the time.
I don't know where I land on this because on the one hand, yeah, like, you know, you want to be an actor, you are an actor, so you should maybe behave differently. He's also way younger than us, and he should know the rules of the internet, which is whatever you put online never disappears.
Exactly.
But I don't know that he ever expected that he would become super famous in the fastest time frame that we've ever seen.
This is a great
Do you know
teachable
that
moment
this-
here.
It's a great teachable moment.
Yep.
This show only dropped in the United States 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He is now,
His life
and
has
Connor
changed.
Story, who were both on our show, they are now the biggest names in Hollywood. I don't know that you can predict, you hope for that kind of viral fame, but I don't know that he knew, I'm going to become really famous soon, so
Yeah,
I
but
shouldn't
it is
let these
but you're
things.
still moving in that direction. You still knew that you were actively moving in the direction to work in that field. Even if you didn't know you're going to become really famous, it doesn't make any sense to me why
we
he would
run
do
out
this.
of time, but think about this. If the reviews that he wrote were really well crafted and really great, even if they were critical, but people were like, oh, that's a good point, we'd be celebrating it. We'd be like, this guy's got some great points.
Would we?
The fact, I think we would be. I think if they were really well crafted and they brought up some interesting ideas.
These just seem mean-spirited
But
to you.
Fair.
And I didn't think they were mean-spirited at all.
Oh, no, I thought they were very mean.
At all.
But you
At
know
all.
what? That's the luck on those red carpets, running into all those A-list stars, because they know what you said about them.
Yeah, we'll
It's going to be a long award season for him.
It's all right. He's so hot in the show. It's like we forget all that Letterboxd stuff.